Ken, I'm going to shift gears now. I know that you were the energy minister before, and you were part of Brian Mulroney's government as well. That was a government
Yes.
that you helped dig Canada out of a rut that was created by the previous Liberal government at that time, which was Justin Trudeau's dad. And we know there was a lot of mismanagement that happened. And back then, there was this same sentiment about Alberta not getting their fair share. And, I believe that your government did a really good job at that time. And you did a good job of standing up for Alberta at that time. Where do you see our energy now compared to what it was when you were the energy minister? And that'll be part one. And where do you see it going in the
Yes.
future?
Well, I think we could be doing so much more. I mean, when you look at the geopolitical issues around what Russia's doing right now, and really what they appear to be doing is they're trying to seize these massive oil fields in eastern Ukraine and offshore, so that they can control that. It's a big grab of energy, so that then they can have an even greater hammerlock on parts of Europe and likely China over time will become vulnerable to them. But I think we as Canadians could be doing so much more. We're one of the most responsible, tightly regulated energy sectors in the
Here,
world.
here.
And with the capacity we have, with the ability to manage our greenhouse gas footprint and to reduce it over time, why wouldn't we be part of the global solution and helping either Europe or America with the supplies that they need? Or how about Central and Eastern Canada? With we could sell more there too. And so it's a really I remember giving a speech in 2012, shortly after becoming Minister of Energy, and the point I made was we will build pipelines any direction, north, south, east, west.
Absolutely.
We'll look at any rational alternative to get to Tidewater because that was the strategic imperative we had to accomplish. Well, that's 10 years ago, if you can believe it. And that we didn't make a lot of headway. We finally got, one to the West Coast under construction, and it's coming along, but we could be doing so much more if we had a coherent strategy between Canada and the producing provinces that said, okay, here's an opportunity, but you got to be clean. You got to be really good, top notch in terms of delivering and reducing the greenhouse gas footprint. We could do that, and we'd be a lot better supplier for anybody than Russia or Nigeria or many other countries or Saudi that don't spend a lot of time worrying about methane emissions and greenhouse gas footprint
Or human rights.
or human rights. Right.
And that's really well said. The way I look at it, and I think you said that really well, that I believe the federal government should be working with those provinces that are the energy producers. We need to figure out what's the best medium for making sure the environment and our economy are balanced. I haven't seen that as an elected official. What we see is demonizing of the energy sector. What I see is we have a carbon tax that's taxing Canadians, but our emissions are going up, and I think those solutions are there. Provinces, the producers, they're all willing to get on board, and I think that there needs to be more coordination between the government, these businesses, and provinces when it comes to tackling these issues together. Because sometimes it feels like everyone is working in their own silos, and there's no real targets being met, or there isn't much leadership in my eyes. And sorry, I usually I'm not partisan on this, but it's something that is so fundamental, and so many Albertans are so passionate about this issue on its own. And it's something that we need. I think we need to do a lot better at, like you said. And when we're looking at emissions, where do you think that there's targets set? How do we meet those targets? What are the obstacles that are in the way of meeting those targets, you think?
Well, I think most of the targets that have been set actually are achievable because it's a technology solution. Technology continues to be improved. We have an economic mechanism that's in use in Canada called carbon credits. Carbon credits can be used so that those who create them can then sell them to those who need them to offset their regulatory requirements. That's an economic mechanism that enables a transition. And this is all about a transition. It's a long-term game plan transition. And you can't do it simply by saying this is what you have to do. You have to work with industry. You have to work with the technical people. You have to provide the financial support to allow the technology to fully develop. I give a lot of credit to Ed Stelmach's government, who actually put a lot of money, and we continued to support it when I was minister, into carbon capture and storage and carbon capture and use. And so those were early trial days that required a big commitment from both Canada and from the Alberta government. Those were far-sighted initiatives because we had to be going there. And we're the experts on energy in this province.
That's right.
Certainly in Canada, and actually experts on a global scale. So our experts should be part of this whole conversation to figure out how you get from point A to point B and start reducing the greenhouse gas footprint of this country and helping others reduce the greenhouse gas footprint as well. I mean, best thing we could do as Canada is actually ship, as an interim transition measure, ship natural gas to Asia to get China off its coal plants.
Absolutely.
Like, that would be a huge gift. And we could do the same going to Europe as well. But we all have to recognize that this is something where we need leadership to develop and create the opportunities for pipelines to actually be built. And have some courage. I was part of the Mulroney government, and he had a lot of strengths and he had a few weaknesses. But what I can tell you is he and Joe Clark are people who understood what political capital is, and they understood how to use it in the public interest, and they used it in the public interest. That is something I encourage all people in public life to do today. It's like, understand what your capacity is, what you're able to do, and do it.